here we are in our 2021 L5P Duramax. We're going to walk you through the steps of installing the new EvoHT2 into the 2020 and newer style Duramax trucks. We do need to unlock both the ECM and the TCM in this application, so we'll walk you through that process. First, we're going to start by plugging our device into our OBD2 port, and we're going to turn on our ignition by pressing and holding the button for about 3 seconds. This will turn on our ignition. Now, to start this process, we first need to gather some data from the truck. So to do so, we plug the device into the truck, we attempt to tune, turn the ignition on, and the device will tell us that it saved some of our factory vehicle data and that we need to take the device back to our desktop and plug into our update agent software to make sure we get the correct files delivered to the device. So now we've completed that step. We're going to go ahead and turn the vehicle off. We're going to disconnect our EvoHT2 from the vehicle, and we're going to go to our computer to make sure we get the files delivered to our device so that we can properly flash and unlock the vehicle. All right, so we've moved into our PC. If you haven't already downloaded our update agent software, you can visit edgeproducts.com, select the support tab here at the top. The very first option here on the left is software updates. We can select there. We can scroll down and find Update Agent 1.0. We can download this for a Mac or download for a PC. So you'll want to download that, make sure that it's saved into the computer. Once that's done, we can open our Update Agent software. You can see here. Once it's open, you can see that it's asking us to connect our device. So using the EvoHT2 and the cable that was included in the package, you can plug it in here right at the bottom of the device, which will then power it up, putting us into USB mode. Now the computer and the update agent software will automatically locate that device. You can see it's loaded our serial number and our SKU. This is the part number for the device. It also has now the VIN that was captured when we plugged into the truck just a moment ago. So it's checking the device. There are updates available and asks if we want to install them. We will select yes. The GM unlock code has now been delivered to the device. We can select OK. The update agent was able to get the engine stock files onto the device successfully. You may now tune your vehicle with this device if you have also received the GM unlock code. So now we're downloading the files we need. This will only take a minute. It has now put our operating system onto the device. Select OK. Now it's asking us to reboot the device. Press the OK button on the device for 3 seconds in order to finish the update process. So we're going to press and hold OK. You'll see the device will power down. We've powered back up. It says your device is up to date. It is now safe to unplug the device. So we're going to disconnect from the PC. I'm going to select OK on the update agent software to close it out. Now we can move back to the truck, unlock the ECM, and then install our flash tuning. Okay, so we have plugged into the truck. We've gotten the truck data into the device, and we've gone to our computer and plugged into our update agent software and delivered the calibration files to the device. So we're now going to attempt to unlock the ECM by again plugging into the vehicle to power up the handheld. We're going to turn on our ignition without starting the engine. So the vehicle is now powered up. So we're going to select tune, make sure the ignition on, OK. We're going to select tune vehicle. Tells us that the E41 engine controller is locked and that we need to unlock it by connecting our unlock cable. So we need to move on to installing that cable so we can begin the unlock process. So at this point, we're going to unplug our device, turn off our ignition, and we're going to move under the hood to install the unlock cable. So we've now moved under the hood of our truck. We need to locate the fuse box, which is right here on the inside of the driver's fender. We need to remove the lid by pressing and holding the release tab on the front and the rear side of the lid. Now on the bottom side of the lid, you'll see the layout of the fuses and their numbers. We need to locate the ECM fuse, which on these trucks is number 78, which you'll find located back here towards the back corner of the fuse panel. This is a 15 amp fuse. We're just going to use a small pair of needle nose pliers to remove that fuse. And then we are going to install the fuse tab that's included with your locksmith device. Now your box will come with two different fuses, a 2-blade and a 3-blade. The 3-blade is used on the 17 to 19 model year trucks only. The 2-blade is used here on this application. So we're going to install our fuse with the tap facing the driver's fender. Make sure that's secure. And then we can route this cable into the cab through the open door. And we can make our connections with the OBD port and our EvoHT2. Okay, so we've installed our locksmith cable into the fuse panel. We've got our locksmith plugged in here. We've also plugged into our OBD2 port. We now need to connect our EvoHT2 to the locksmith device itself, which will then power up our F5 EvoHT2. Now we can walk through unlocking the ECM. We're going to select tune, make sure our ignition on, so we're going to press and hold our start button. So the vehicle is now on with the engine not running. We're going to press OK to tune. You'll hear the locksmith turning on and off, powering up as it's initializing the files to create the unlock process. Okay, so we are now ready to begin our unlock process. This will take about 15 minutes. Are you ready to continue? We'll walk through the final steps of the unlock process now. We've gone through all of it. See, the device has told us that the unlock has been complete with the ECM. We're going to press OK to continue. It says remove the unlock cable and replace the original fuse. If there's another module to unlock, connect its unlock cable now. If not, plug the tuner into the vehicle's OBD port. So since this is the 2020 and newer vehicle, we do need to unlock the TCM now. So we can remove this locksmith device from the ECM fuse panel, and then we can hook up our harness that allows us to unlock that TCM. So we'll move on to that step now. Okay, so we've completed the ECM unlock and we need to remove our ECM unlock harness from the vehicle. This is just as simple as disconnecting that fuse that we installed earlier from the fuse panel and simply reinstalling the original fuse back into that factory number 78 location. Once that's in, we can put our fuse panel cover back on, making sure we get it positioned correctly and clicked into place so that it can keep it sealed from the outer elements. Now we'll move on to installing our TCM unlock cable, which is also done here under the hood. All right, now we're moving on to unlocking the TCM so we can put our trans tuning into the vehicle. To do so, we need to locate the TCM, which is actually right here in front of the driver's side battery. To get easier access to the connector on that TCM, we're going to remove this relay box from its mount by pressing the depress on the back side of it, and you can slide it up and off of the bracket, and then we can move it aside to get better access down to the TCM that's located directly below it. Now this is going to be difficult to get on film, but you can see here this is the TCM module that we're going to be working with. and there is a black connector right here on the front side of it that we need to disconnect. Okay, so with that red safety lock pulled up, you'll feel a small detent in the middle of that slide connector that you'll press in with one finger, and then using your other fingers you can slide that outer connector straight up, which will allow the connector to slide off of the TCM and disengage. See, right now we've got the connector here disconnected. We can basically move this to the side. It won't fall down into the engine bay, but we'll move it over towards the radiator, exposing the open connector on the TCM here, where we will now plug in our TCM unlock harness. Okay, so we've got our TCM unlock harness here. This is like the factory connector. We're gonna plug it onto that TCM and then actuate this slide closed so that it engages fully. The one thing to note is that this is going to be installed the opposite direction of the factory one. So the factory one installs with the harness facing downward and the slide will slide down. Well, on the unlock harness, we want to install it so that the harness is facing upwards towards the hood. So it's technically upside down from what the original connector is. So we can place it on to that TCM connector. Make sure it fully engages, and then you can grab that slide and you'll feel it just rotate up and click into place. Now we can route our cable, the other end of our TCM unlock harness, over to our passenger side battery, and we can start with the TCM unlock process. Okay, so we've moved over to the passenger side of the truck. We've opened up the access port to our positive battery terminal using our TCM unlock harness. We're going to connect the red alligator clip to our positive battery terminal. We will connect our black alligator clip to the negative terminal. And then on that TCM harness, you'll see we've got the connector for our locksmith device. It's going to be plugged in here. And now we can plug our EvoHT2 directly into that locksmith. So this TCM unlock process will be done right here under the hood. We will not be going through the vehicle's OBD2 port. We're getting power from the battery instead of the OBD2 for the TCM unlock. So we want to go ahead and start our tune process. Make sure that our ignition is on with the engine not running. We've already done that, so we will press OK. It is ready to unlock the transmission TCM. Takes about 3 minutes. Make sure your batteries have a good charge. We're ready to continue. Press OK. Now it's going to prepare the unlock, and you will hear the locksmith turning on and off as it's preparing that process. Now we're preparing the download so we can install that unlock. Again, the TCM process is much faster than the ECM, so this is only a minute or two process to get all the way through. Once the TCM is unlocked, we can remove this unlock cable, and then we will reinstall that TCM harness onto the TCM, and then we can go into the vehicle and begin our flash process of installing our performance tune into the truck, which will flash the ECM and the TCM with our performance calibrations. So what the device is doing now is actually reading your factory TCM file. So it's saving that stock TCM calibration into the device here. Our TCM has now been unlocked. We're going to press OK to continue. It says remove the unlock cable and reconnect that TCM connection. If there's another module to unlock, you can connect it now. But we've already done our ECM and our TCM, so we are now done with our unlock cables and the locksmith. We can plug the EvoHT2 directly into the OBD2 port, and we can start the ECM and TCM flash. So we will disconnect from our locksmith. We'll remove power on our cable here. Make sure we close this access port back up. And we'll move back over to the TCM. All right, so we're going to disconnect from our TCM. Again, we'll have to press that depress on the slider. Rotate that slider all the way down. And remove our locksmith unlock cable. And then we need to plug our original TCM harness back into that TCM. Make sure it's fully engaged before you slide that slider down. You'll hear it click, and then you want to make sure you depress that red keeper so that it won't come loose. And then we need to take that relay box that we removed from the bracket earlier and just slide it back down into place. It'll lock. We can move into the cab of the truck and start our tuning. So we're going to now plug our EvoHT2 directly into our OBD port here. You'll see the device power up. We're going to tune the vehicle now. Make sure our ignition is on, but the engine is not running. Press OK. We want to go ahead and tune vehicle. It's verifying our stock file. It says there's calibration files missing. Please update the tuner. So this is a situation where either the ECM or the TCM has calibrations that are not saved in the Edge database. So we basically need to take those files that we've already read and are saved into the device and go in and plug into our update agent at our computer, where those files will be sent to our engineering team and they can add your stock calibrations to our database so that we can apply the modifications of our calibrations for the ECM and TCM. This is about a 24-hour turnaround process. So once you plug this device into that update agent, it will trigger our engineering team that there needs to be an update specific to your device, to your serial number, which is located here on the back of the device. So that process will send the files to them. Our engineer will work on those calibrations and then send them back to you so that you can plug it in and update the device with those newly created files so that you can then flash tune your truck. So at this point, we can't actually install our tunes into the vehicle until we send this data back to our Edge engineers. So we're going to press OK. And then we're going to turn off our truck. We're going to disconnect from the OBD2 port, and we're going to take our tuner into our PC to start that download process so that they can work on the calibrations that are needed to support our specific vehicle. Not every customer is going to run into this situation, as we've got a lot of the stock calibrations already in the database, but this specific truck is not in our database. So with this being a brand new product on the market, there will be some files that we don't currently support, but it's a simple process of sending those files to us. We'll make the modifications that we need to do and send them back, and we strive to have that done in a 24-hour period. So you should be able to get your tune file so that you can flash the truck by the end of the day or the end of the next day. So we'll move on to that now. Okay, so we're back at our PC. Again, if you don't have the update agent software downloaded, you can get it right here off of our homepage by collecting support. You'll have software updates and you'll find the update agent here. It works for Mac and PC. At this point in the process, you should already have update agent because you've already had to plug the device into the PC so that we can send you the correct information to the vehicle. So we've got our update agent open here. It's asking us to connect our device. So using the included cable, we can plug our EvoHT into our computer here. You'll see it power up, and update agent should populate that device. See that the update agent software has found the SKU that we've plugged in. It's also found and populated the VIN number from our truck that's been saved into the device. So our software is now reading your factory files out of the device. It says we've received your vehicle's factory file, and our calibration team has been notified so that your vehicle can be supported. You'll receive an email as soon as we have the calibration ready for you. So we'll press OK. And then depending on the situation, this could be done simultaneously with our system, because we've already had another customer with the same files that have been submitted that were not in the device when you did your prior update, or it could take a few hours or even up to the next day to get those calibrations back. But we've closed our update agent software. We're going to disconnect our tuner. Once we get those files into the device, we can go back to the truck and install them into our vehicle. All right, so here we are back in the truck with our EvoHT2. We've got our calibration files uploaded into the device. We've already unlocked our ECM and our TCM, so we're going to go ahead and install our flash tuning into the truck with the handheld. So we're going to plug into our OBD2 port here under the dash, which is going to power up our device. Now we're going to go in and tune the vehicle. We're going to select OK. It's going to ask that we turn the ignition on without starting the engine. So again, we're going to press and hold our ignition button for about 3 seconds. We can select OK. So we can go in and do our tune vehicle, or we can go into our quick options. Real quick to go through those quick options. Before we tune, this is where we can set our TPMS settings, front and rear. We can adjust our RPM idle up. We can do the air filter life reset. We can do our manual and mobile regens. We can also do our trans relearn here. We're going to go back into our tune menu. We're going to tune the vehicle. And this is where we can select our different calibrations that are in the vehicle or in the device for the truck itself. We've got our extreme, which is that 150 horsepower tune. We've got our light trailer for light towing. This is good for, say, 6,000 pounds and lower. Good EGT control. We've got our heavy trailer. This is for weight that is above that 6,000 pounds. So this is a lower horsepower tune, so there's less fuel. So it's a little bit easier to watch those, keep those EGTs under control, that sort of thing. Then we've got our economy tune, which is good for a daily driver, cruising, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and install that economy tune. So we'll select that. It says this is designed for fuel efficiency. Towing is not recommended in this level. We're gonna select OK. It's asking us if we want to install custom options. So we can press the left arrow for no, or we can select OK for yes. We're going to select OK because we do want to customize this calibration. So the EvoHT2 gives you, the end user, the ability to change that calibration to kind of fine tune your driving style. So we can adjust our rev limiter. We can go in and adjust our speed limiter. So we can set it at that stock 95 mile an hour, or we can go to a raised value so that we can get past that 95 mile an hour. We can go in and change our gear ratio. So if we've changed our rear ring and pinion, our front ring and pinion because of a larger set of tires or something like that, we can adjust the gear ratio. We've got our adjustable tire size, so we can calibrate the speedometer to read correctly for our larger than stock tires. The one thing to note is that you want to measure the height of the tire with a tape measure and input that number into the device. Very rarely will you find a 35, 1250 R20 stands 35 inches tall once it's mounted and balancing on the truck. They're usually around a 33.5, 33 3/4. Same for a 37. They're usually closer to a 3550 once they're mounted on the truck. So input the measured tire height to get your most accurate speedometer reading. Our keep drive mode, this is a nice feature where we can remember the last button settings on every engine startup. So if you're someone that likes to drive in your tow haul mode, or you like to drive in sport mode, or you are driving across the country towing a big trailer and you've got your exhaust brake engaged, this will allow the vehicle to remember those settings every time you shut the truck off. So when you turn the truck off with your exhaust brake on, when you restart the truck, that exhaust brake is gonna be on, or you're gonna be in sport mode, your tow haul mode will be engaged, or whatever it might be. Just gonna remember the previous setting. So we wanna go ahead and remember that last setting. We also have a built-in throttle booster. So for you, those of you that have been looking at aftermarket throttle booster systems, the EvoHT2 has that built into the device itself. So we have our pre-calibrated tunes in the device, but you can go in and fine-tune that throttle sensitivity with this device. So we can go anywhere from stock all the way up to 50% over stock with our throttle sensitivity. So depending on if you like a real touchy throttle or if you like it kind of soft, you can go anywhere in between and kind of fine tune that for your driving style. I like to see it between 15 and 20 for my driving style. Gives you a good pedal response without it being jumpy and stop and go traffic. So we're gonna go ahead and set this one at 15%. And then we can also adjust our idle RPM in park and in drive. We're gonna go ahead and tell it to continue. It's now going to adjust that calibration with the settings that we've put into the device. It's asking us if that's the tune we want to install. We're going to select OK. It's now going to create the communications with the vehicle with the modules. It's going to prepare that TCM and the ECM. Remember, in the 2020 and newer trucks, we're the first to the market with TCM support for this 10-speed transmission. So our calibration engineers have spent a ton of time trying to develop the perfect trans tuning for this application. So we've changed the shift firmness, the shift points, the converter lockup. The way that power is transferred through that 10-speed is so much better with the TCM tuning that's included with this device, that you can actually apply that power and feel that difference in that trans tuning. It makes it such a better driving experience. The truck accelerates better, it tows better, the transmission just feels really firm and strong with that added power and torque. You don't have that big delay in the shifts. It just feels more positive without being abrupt or harsh. The trans tuning really makes a big difference in how these trucks drive every day and towing, and it is a great feature that's been added into this device. Now the device is going to finish the installation. It's going to ask us to turn off our ignition. We can press OK. Now it's asking us to open, close, and lock the driver's side door while we wait for the ECM to fully shut down to avoid any check engine lights. So we're going to open that door, we're going to close it, we're going to lock it, and now we're going to wait while the modules shut down. The economy tune has now been installed. We can press OK. We can now unplug the EvoHT2 from the OBD port. We can put it away in a safe spot. At this point, we can, if you're running an Insight CTS3 monitor, you can plug that back in so you can continue watching all that data through your monitor, and you're free to go about and drive the truck. You will have a little bit of a relearn process with that transmission because the TCM has been flashed and reset. There will be a little bit of a relearn process, but just go out and drive the truck as normal. You're gonna immediately feel the difference in that trans tuning. Obviously you'll feel a difference in that throttle pedal sensitivity and the added power that's come from the device. If you have any further questions, please visit our website at edgeproducts.com, or you can reach out to our tech support team if you've had any problems or questions that have come up. You can also check out our social media for any additional information on the product line for the L5P Duramax. We look forward to hearing your feedback and the results of the device. And we appreciate you taking the time to watch this.